3D art is insane. Watching your imagination come to life on screen is one of the most satisfying things ever. But let's be real, how many times have you hit render and thought, that's not what I pictured? Or, it looked cooler in my head. We've all been there, which is why I'll be breaking down 5 things that you can add to your workflow that'll bring your renders closer to the vision in your head. Lighting calculations are complex and expensive. This is why games bake in AO instead of letting lights do their thing. Lighting is calculated with bounces. When a source light hits a surface, it doesn't just disappear. It bounces off of other objects and surfaces. But games may not be able to afford this, and they limit bounces to increase performance. Even with new lighting systems like lumen and path tracing, baking AO directly into your models and environments helps fake contact shadows. Here's a rifle, for example. Check out these 2 renders, one with AO and one without. As you can see here, baking ambient occlusion creates depths into these crevices and makes the model pop. For environments, you can control AO using post-process volumes and control the amount of spread and its opacity. In VFX, it's a little different. Since we don't care about performance and only render times, artists render out render passes, with each pass having its own information like color, roughness, emission if needed, and sometimes even AO. This gives fine control during the post-production process, and not having to re-render the entire scene over again. Nothing in this world is flawless. Even something brand new out of the factory has some imperfections, like microdust, faint scratches, and tiny smudges. Most of the times you don't even notice them consciously, but your brain does. It uses these micro details to tell whether something is real or fake. Although your render may look good, it still might not convince anyone that it is a real image taken from a camera. And that's what good CG is, when CG disappears. When someone believes the image was captured on a camera. When the main story of your image is, well, the story and not the edited elements. This is where surface imperfection comes in. Adding these grimes, dust, and scratches enhances your render to be believable. Using roughness, normal, or height to give detail to your model and environments helps sell the getting lost in the art feeling. Here's a simple metal sphere. I mean, this looks good enough, right? But simply adding in some smudges helps elevate this simple object to tell a story. These are very minuscule things, but they add up in the long run. Trust me, if you aren't convinced, try going back to one of your old projects and implementing a few of these tricks and compare the old from the new. You'll be surprised. Lighting isn't just pointing a lamp at your model and saying it looks cool. It's about emotion. Every great lighting artist starts with one question. What's the purpose of this shot? That question shapes everything else. Where the light comes from, what color is it, how sharp or soft the shadows are, and ultimately, how the audience feel. Think about it in real life. When someone says, a warm sunny day, you immediately picture comfort, energy, happiness. And now compare it to a gloomy night. You probably imagine cold, uneasy, maybe even danger. That's storytelling through light, not words, just feelings. In 3D, you actually have more power than in real life because nothing is accidental. Every ray, every shadow is a choice you make. That means if your scene feels too empty, lifeless, or confusing, it's often because your lighting isn't telling the right story. So next time, instead of just thinking, where should I place my light? Think, what should the audience feel in that exact moment? Because lighting is not just about making things visible, it's about making things unforgettable. One of the easiest mistakes beginners make is forgetting real-world scale. You could have the most detailed model in the world, but if a chair is half the size it should be, or the door is too tall, something in your brain instantly goes off. Our brains are incredible at reading scale, even subconsciously. We don't even notice why a room feels weird, but a misscaled object will trigger that tiny alarm in your head. Something is wrong here. The solution to this? References. Look at real-world measurements whenever you can. Chairs, doors, mugs, windows. Check their actual sizes and compare them to your scene. Use photo images, measuring apps, or even just your own environment. Please use a reference. I want you to picture a metal water bottle. Got it? Okay, now let's look at a reference. Just by studying it, you'll notice this grainy texture all over the blue part of this bottle, or these streaks on the metal. Simple things like this will be missed when you're working just through thought. but they make a huge difference when it comes to your final asset or scene. 3D art isn't just about making objects look good, it's about what your scene communicates. Even a perfectly modeled and lit environment can feel empty or lifeless if you don't try to tell the right story. Have a look at this cabin. Seems good, right? Well, although this looks passable, adding a few elements can really bring your scene to life. Random chairs, tools, and other elements to convey that this could be abandoned or convey what kind of a person lived here. It's not shown through text or told to the audience, it's just understood. Adding elements like a flag or this barbecue set can convey a story. This applies to assets too. You may have heard the phrase, every scratch on a watch says a story. And that's exactly what you should be doing or thinking when it comes to 3D. Adding subtle things like an engraving or a thoughtful dent can convey a story and make your shot unforgettable. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs before the end of the year. If you've learned anything so far, I'd really appreciate if you stick around and maybe drop a like and sub. Also, let me know if you want a part 2 with more niche things that people don't talk about to improve as an artist. And that's about it for today. Thank you for watching.